Welcome to our Urban Bakkie Shootout with the plucky Foton Tunland 2.8 diesel, iconic Isuzu KB 300, premium VW Amarok and tough Nissan Navara. Let the tests begin. So manufacturers like to talk about their bakkies being car-like on the inside in terms of refinement and quality, and this Foton Tunland, they definitely get points for trying. But there's really nothing in here that feels quality. Everything's scratchy, and you've got this cheap-looking fake wood trim. In terms of standard kit, it's got all the essentials: a radio, air conditioning, electric windows, power locks. The seats are comfortable though. 10 points for that. Now we've settled into the Isuzu KB 300, the 6th generation model, the new one. And they've done a really good job with the interior. If you own a Chevrolet Trailblazer, you'll find all of this familiar. The switchgear is the same as is the fascia design and everything else. You also get leather upholstery in brown, very classy. One touch down and one touch up. A lot of the time you get one touch down but not one touch up. This has it. Steering wheel controls for the audio system, cruise control, a sound system with Bluetooth and USB connectivity. You also get climate control with a cool digital display. Now we're in the VW Amarok, the bakkie with a premium persona, and as you'd expect from the Germans, they've done things properly. There's a sophisticated air inside the cabin of this Amarok. Personally, I think the VW Amarok takes the cake for the most car-like interior. Very comfortable in here, and really it just feels like a more utilitarian version of a touring. And you get a 3-spoke steering wheel that's very compact in size, like you might find on a Jetta or a Golf. Classy silver accents on the doors and on the fascia switchgear. But as with any German car, there is an options list. If you want Bluetooth, that's $4,000 extra. If you want PDC, that's another $5,000. We'd also like to know, where's the USB port? I mean, cars without USB ports are so 1998. So getting into the Nissan Navara is really like getting into a dark hole. Everything here is black, but like Snoop Dogg said, we're all black when the lights go out. Still, quality is pretty good. Doors are clad in leather. You also get leather seat upholstery and Navara embossed over there. Standard kit is pretty good too. Cruise control, climate control, actually dual climate control like you get in the Amarok. And you get Bluetooth as standard, unlike the Amarok. What's really frustrating though is the lack of height adjustment for the driver's seat, which is a major downer if you're short. So the staple diet of many urban dwellers is fast food, and you're going to find yourself hitting the drive-thru quite often. So let's see how the Foton Tunland does at the local KFC. It's quite narrow. I feel like having some wings. How about you, cameraman?
Yeah, wing sounds good.
It's manly.
Super manly.
So here's the true test. Really quite narrow, as you can see. Okay, we made it. In the Isuzu, the turning circle is much better than the Foton, which should help it sail past the all-important drive-thru test. Right, here comes the tricky part. Negotiating through these poles, very narrow spaces. Will we make it without having to reverse? And we did. Passes the drive-thru test. Compared to the Isuzu and the Foton, the Amarok feels a little more maneuverable and a bit less clumsy in the tight confines of this local parking lot. Let's buy some ice cream and see how it does in the drive-thru test. Now that was definitely accomplished much easier than in the other two bakkies. So we managed to drive through the KFC in the Amarok with fair ease. In the Foton we had to reverse, and it was also a bit tight in the Isuzu KB. Let's see how we can do it in the Navara.
So how was that?
Not as easy as it was in the Amarok, I must say. So let's see how easy the Foton Tunland is to park. Rear visibility is not the greatest, so that's definitely one of its big disadvantages. But let's go for it. See how quickly we can park this thing. That's your car there, right, cameraman?
Yeah, don't ding it.
Now the Tunland doesn't have PDC, so I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is stop when I hear the bang. And we're in, without dinging the cameraman's Toyota Yaris. So can you park an Isuzu KB 300 while eating some crispy wings from KFC? Let's find out.
Whoa, let's do it.
Now the KB 300 has park distance control, which is quite helpful, but it's not. Oh, there we go. Okay. Done. To park the Isuzu KB 300 while eating a chicken wing. That's quicker than the Tunland. Easier to park. I'm driving around the parking lot eating an ice cream, and I found a parking. Let's see how quickly we can park the Amarok while eating an ice cream. In
17.5 seconds.
Nice. Let's see how quickly we can park this puppy. No park distance control on this Navara. So like in the Foton, I have to do it the old-fashioned way and stop when I hear the bang. In
26 seconds.
Not bad. Not bad. Certainly one of the best aspects of the Foton Tunland is its engine. It's a 2.8 litre Cummins diesel, and Cummins is like the best in the business when it comes to diesel engines. It's very manly. Listen. Like a bakkie should sound. It's actually not a bad drive. It's very labor intensive, not very leisurely. You really have to manhandle this 5-speed gearbox. Ugh. Badly. But even though we've been pretty harsh on this Tunland, it's got some redeeming qualities. You know, it's good on the freeway. Pulls really strongly on the freeway, and yeah, no, it's good on the freeway. When you're buying a bakkie, power is important.
How much does this one have?
Well, I mean, the Tunland has 120 kilowatts and 360 newton meters of torque. Did you know that, Hitchhiker?
I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. Now Foton thinks that their Tunland is good enough to take on the big boys. So we're talking Hilux, Ranger, Amarok, Isuzu KB. And look, the price is keen. This entry-level 2.8 litre diesel model goes for about 269,000 Rand. So what do we think of the Foton Tunland, the cheapest offering in this shootout? Well, it's a value for money proposition. It's enticing, but there are many areas that it lacks in, like quality, refinement, and overall solidity. Right, let's get onto the road in the Isuzu KB 300. Now already the insulation, you can tell the difference between this and the Tunland. Much quieter and a little smoother. Hey cameraman, you're not jerking about all over the place. Now what I like about the KB 300 is that on the road it feels like a large SUV rather than your average agricultural run-of-the-mill bakkie. So they've done a really good job in that area.
These seats are amazing!
They are very comfortable, supportive, soft, very comfortable. So we've got the manual 4x4 derivative here, but you can have an automatic transmission with the KB 300. The clutch pedal is not too stiff that it hurts your left leg, so you could probably drive it in traffic every day without being too miserable.
What's the power like?
Well, this model power comes from a 3-litre turbo diesel engine. It's giving you about 130 kilowatts and 380 newton meters of torque, so plenty of pulling power there. Now, at 464,000 Rand, this Isuzu KB 300 is not cheap. In fact, you could buy 2 Foton Tunlands for the price of one of these. But you must also remember, this is twice the car of the Foton Tunland. And another selling point this KB300 has is the name. It's Isuzu. You know they're one of the best names in the bakkie business, and they've been going strong for many decades. People love them in South Africa too, so...
I love it.
Cameraman loves it. I love it, you love it. It's a solid brand. The Amarok doesn't feel like a big, unwieldy off-roader. It actually feels like your average SUV. Very comfortable, very refined. And this is the most powerful out of the 4 bakkies that we're testing. 132 kilowatts from a 2-litre turbo diesel engine. So of the 3 bakkies we've tested thus far, this is definitely the easiest to drive around town and in traffic, mostly thanks to the 8-speed automatic transmission. Gear changes from this 8-speed ZF transmission are really quite seamless. You don't feel any jerks or unnerving tugs when it shifts up or down. And the power is there instantaneously. The moment you put your foot down, it surges forward with no interruption. And it's got a big boy hooter too. Listen.
That is pretty manly.
Man,
Would you go on a road trip in this thing?
any day of the week. This Amarok is comfortable, refined, and smooth, and it would make an excellent open road cruiser. The suspension does feel stiffer than that of the Isuzus, which makes it slightly more harsh over bumps and potholes. And another selling point of the Amarok is the VW badge. You know it stands for quality, solidity, and the resale will definitely be good when the time comes to get rid of it. So the Amarok has all of the goodness of a bakkie, with little of the harshness that you would usually associate with double cab bakkies. But let's see what the Navara is like. The tough Navara. So when we asked Nissan South Africa for a Navara to use in this comparison test, they told us that shootouts are not their thing. So we gotta wonder, were they a bit concerned that compared to the Amarok and the Isuzu and the Foton that it wouldn't be that good? So in terms of size, it's the second smallest engine here. 2.5 litre turbocharged diesel kicking at 120 kilowatts. It sounds a lot more gruff and aggressive than the Amarok. And like that, it's got an automatic transmission, 5 cogs in this case rather than 8, which is quite smooth. When you put your foot down flat, you can actually feel the rear wheels scrabbling ever so slightly for grip. There's a lot of torque in this car. It's certainly got the pulling power, which is great if you want to tow a caravan, a horse box. And you can slip it into manual mode if you want. And it's really quite responsive as well, surprisingly. This gearbox is really impressive. Really impressive. I dislike the fact that the Navara doesn't feel as high off the ground as its rivals.
Would you go on a road trip in the Navara?
I certainly would. Open road cruising would be pretty pleasant in this Navara. Coming up to our favorite bend. Let's see how it does. Move pigeons. I like that. None of that roly-poly business that you get in the Foton with the Isuzu. Can really take the corners with confidence. It is quite similar to the Amarok in the way it drives. Excellent power delivery as well from this 2.5 litre engine. We're happy to report that we're pretty impressed thus far with the Nissan Navara, and of course all people who bought it can't be wrong, you know. I mean, it's really tough, it's got that rugged image, and we like it. After these rigorous city tests that were practical in every way, we've come to the conclusion that the ultimate urban bakkie is the Volkswagen Amarok, with the Nissan Navara following in second. Thanks for joining us on this urban truck test. For latest motoring news, new and used car reviews, log on to surf4cars.co.za. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and of course YouTube. Until the next one, drive safe.
Surf4cars.